Today's lesson is on the second part of section 1.3, which is on measuring and constructing angles. So today we're going to look at angle measurements in a little more detail. If you take a look at this picture right here, we have a couple different things going on. We have an angle GEF, which is here, GEF, and you can see that that angle is past the 90 being right here. Okay, we've passed that mark. This would be 90 here. We've passed that, so that angle there is going to actually be obtuse. And we also have an angle right here, angle DEG, and that angle there is acute. It is less than 90 degrees. Okay, and that was something we had talked about in the last lesson. Okay, so DEG is acute, and we already know that GEF is obtuse. So if we take a look at this and we're trying to use our measurements here, we can read our protractor. This one happens to open left. We know it's acute, so if you look at, there's two sets of numbers here. There's numbers from 0 to beyond 50, 55, and we also have some numbers here starting at 180 all the way to 125. If you go backwards, so the question becomes, which ones do you use? Well, clearly that is going to be an obtuse angle, so we are going to use the 55 mark for that angle DEG. And when you look at angle GEF, of course, that is a very large angle, so that angle we're going to use our bigger number, which goes from 0 all the way to 125. So it really depends on the way the angle looks in terms of which way you're going to read the numbers, whether you're going to read the smaller ones or the larger set of numbers. All right, let's take a look at this next concept. It's called the protractor postulate. And as we said before, a postulate is more or less like a common sense rule of geometry. It's a rule that we take without proof. Okay, again, like I said, it's kind of common sense. So if you're trying to find out the distance, basically, or the measure of an angle, in this case, we have it as angle QOP. Now, there are no letters on here, but if I am at 20 degrees here and I am at 90 degrees, the question becomes, how much is that angle? Well, that angle is not 90 degrees. It's between the 20 and the 90. We're not starting at 0, we're starting at 20. So if I take that 90 and I subtract 20, I will find out that this whole angle here is a 70-degree angle. So one way we calculate that is we take the 90 minus the 20 and we take the absolute value so that we can always make sure that we end up with a positive angle. So we can say that's 70 degrees. And that just helps us if we want to do 20 minus 90, right, or 90 minus 20. Typically, we would do the bigger number minus the smaller number, but it doesn't matter. The absolute value will make sure that we get a positive answer for that, okay? So we can do the same thing with all of these. What is the degree of an angle that is between 90 and 120? So again, if we're looking at 90 and we're looking at 120 here, right here between these two numbers, how big is that angle right there? Well, again, we can take 90 minus 120, or we can take 120 minus 90, and we end up with that one there being the absolute value of 30, which we know is 30 degrees, okay? Usually, we want to use the big number minus the small number. It doesn't matter, but because we're taking the absolute value, we could do it either way, right? We could take small minus big, okay? Either way would work. All right, so in this case here, again, we have 90 minus 40, which we get 50, and the absolute value of 50 is 50 degrees. So there's all of our answers there for those. Okay, let's continue on. We're going to talk about probably one of the most important postulates that we are going to use this whole year, and it is the angle addition postulate, a very, very important rule in geometry. And basically look at it and say, what are you doing? Well, you're adding angles, angle addition postulate. And the idea is, it says if point B lies in the interior of angle AOC, well, the first thing you want to do is draw an angle AOC. Remember, our middle letter is our vertex. So O has got to be the vertex there because it's our middle letter. We have angle AOC. Now, it says if point B lies in the interior, point B can be anywhere we want inside of it. So I'm just going to put it right here. It doesn't matter where you put it. And I'm going to draw a ray that connects O to B. Okay? I'm going to have a ray that connects those two. So now I technically have one angle here, and of course the big angle is the third angle here. But what this postulate says, it says that the measure of angle AOB, this angle right here, plus the measure of angle BOC, this angle that is right here, right? Those two angles added together will give us the entire big angle, the whole thing, all of this. If we add those two together, we get all of that. So that is our angle addition postulate, right? And again, we said point B can be anywhere inside. Okay, point B can be anywhere inside the angle. Okay, it can be anywhere inside angle. But what this actual postulate says is that little angle plus little angle is equal to the whole entire big angle. That is our angle addition postulate. All right, so let's take a look at this first problem here. We want to set it up. And one of the key things you want to do each and every time is to actually set up the angle addition postulate. In this picture here, we have KLM. It says find KLM. We're going to try to find the measure of this whole entire angle. That would be all of this measurement inside of here, everything added together. Okay. Now KLB, which is this little angle here, is 26 degrees. That's the little one. Right? That's our little one inside of there. Right here, KLB. So we're going to add this one. Plus, we have angle BLM, which is this angle that's right here. And that angle there gets added. That angle is 60 degrees. So we're going to add those two angles together, and we're going to get the measure of the entire large angle. So our angle addition postulate says that the measure of angle KLB plus the measure of angle BLM, KLB, BLM added together equals, and again, that little m stands for measure there. That little m stands for measure, okay? Equals the measure of the whole thing, KLM. So let's plug in our numbers. KLB was 26. We were told that right here. BLM is 60, and that is going to equal the measure of the entire large angle, KLM. And of course, 26 plus 60 is equal to 80. Or I'm sorry, 86, not 80. So there we have that entire angle there is 86 degrees. Okay, let's look at the next one. Find WDC. WDC this time, that's this little angle right here. We want to find out what this is. Okay, we don't know what that is. Let's call it X because we don't know what it is. We're not sure what that is. EDC. EDC is the entire large angle. That's the whole thing. EDC. That's all of this. That angle there is 145. And then we have EDW, which is this one right here. That angle there is 61. So again, let's use our angle addition postulate. Let's set it up. The measure of angle EDW plus the measure of angle WDC is equal to the measure of the whole angle EDC. Again, EDW plus WDC is equal to EDC. And we're talking about these two little tiny pieces inside, added together, make up the entire big angle. So let's plug in what we have. We have EDW is 61. We are trying to find the measure of WDC, so we don't know what this one is. I'm going to call that X because we don't know what that is. And again, that little circle there stands for degree. Is equal to 145 degrees. So now we have ourselves a little algebra problem. So we want to solve for X. So in order to do that, we're going to subtract 61 on both sides. It cancels out, and X is left with 84. So the measure of angle WDC is equal to 84 degrees. Okay? Again, we are using the angle addition postulate for these problems here, the angle addition postulate. Okay, let's look at the last two. Same idea, except we have a little more algebra involved with these. All right, so let's label what we have for this. Okay, so in this problem here, we have angle HGF. HGF is the entire large angle. HGF, that's the whole thing. And guys, I'm putting it on this side. Don't put it on this side because it's all of this. It's this angle here. This is our angle that is EGF. So that whole angle is 16x plus 4. The next angle we have is EGF. EGF. So that's this one right here, inside of there, and that is 110. And the last piece they give us is HGE, which is this angle that is right here, and that is another algebraic expression there. So that piece in there is going to be 3x plus 11. That's a plus sign there. 3x plus 11. So let's set up our angle addition postulate. Little angle, measure of angle EGF, plus the measure of angle HGE. That's our two little ones, HGE, EGF, add together to equal the whole big angle, HGF. All right, let's plug in our measurements now. We have EGF, which is right here, that's the 110, plus HGE, which is the 3x plus 11, is equal to the entire large angle of 16x plus 4. All right, let's simplify what we have. Let's combine like terms. So I'm going to move the 3x over, which is going to give me 13x. I'm going to, well, let me combine the 110 and the 11 first. From that, we get 121. So here's where we are for that part. Now I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So that gives me 125. 121 plus 4 is 125 equals 13x. And now we want to divide by 13 on both sides. And we are going to end up with a decimal. Don't be afraid, you will end up with decimal answers throughout this course. So 9.6 is our value for x there. And the directions said find x. Always go back and look to see what it asked you to find. Sometimes it asks you to find an angle, like in number 4 here. And sometimes it asks you just to find x. All right, in the next problem, let's take a look. Let's label what we have. HIW, that's this little tiny angle right here. That angle, oh no, we're finding that angle. This is the piece we want. So this is our x because we need to find that. So they told us that WIJ, that is this angle right here. They told us this angle right here is 10x. So that's 10x. And they told us that HIJ, which would be the entire angle, all of this, is 145. All right, now what is this last piece? It says HIW is 2x plus 13. Well, wait a second, I put an x in there. Well, I guess that's not correct. I know it said to find it, but sometimes just what you're asked to find, you can't just put an x. You've got to read the entire problem there. So I've got to change this, okay? I've got to change this because they gave us this information. So angle HIW is actually 2x plus 13. So be very careful there. Be very careful. So now we're going to set up the angle addition postulate. Little angle plus little angle equals big angle. So the measure of angle HIW, which is this little one, that's our 2x plus 13, plus the measure of angle WIJ, WIJ. That angle there is 10x, WIJ 10x. So we're adding those together, equals the measure of the entire large angle HIJ. Okay, HIJ, and that was 145. So we want to combine like terms. We've got a 2x and a 10x. That's 12x plus 13 equals 145. We are going to subtract the 13 on both sides, and we end up with 132 is equal to 12x. And, of course, dividing by 12 gives us x equals to 11. All right, so that is our x value. Now, this question said to find HIW. We have to find this. So we are going to have to take that 11 and plug it back in for x up in this angle here. So the measure of angle HIW is equal to, we said, the 2x plus 13. So we're going to plug that in there. So 2 times 11 plus 13. 2 times 11 is 22 plus 13 puts us at 35. So the measure of angle HIW is equal to 35 degrees. And that's our final measurement that we had for that one. Okay? So be careful with your angle addition postulate. You always want to make sure you set up your angle addition postulate in each one of these problems, okay, and then before you plug everything in. It's going to make the problem a lot easier for you. You must label your diagram with all the given information, set up your angle addition postulate, substitute everything in, and then solve for whatever it is they're asking you to find. Again, be careful to go back and read the problem. That one says find x, that one says find HIW. So be careful what they're asking you to find there, okay? All right, any part of this you didn't understand, go back and rewatch. Okay, good luck.